I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sage, that's my buddy Patrick McCray, that's my buddy Gordon Dymowski. We're here to review the movie Life Force, which was recommended to me by both these gentlemen. And I got to tell you, the moment after I watched this, I automatically put this in my top three of vampire movies. This was really good.
Hey!
So,
Wow. So, Jewel, how did that happen?
well, you guys recommended it to me, and I really did enjoy the movie from start to finish. I think, first of all, by this time, by the 80s, by the mid 80s, we had seen, I think most people had seen a lot of different variations of vampires. And again, I didn't watch this until recently, until today, but I can imagine seeing this for the first time and going, okay, we've had Dracula, we've had different variations of Dracula, we've had Barnabas, we've had, I believe, what was it, Lost Boys. And we've had the obviously the Hammer movies, but to have vampires from outer space and not necessarily drink blood, but drain the literal life force out of you,
Drink some.
Was really an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Now let me ask Joel. Did you actually watch the film, or did you just read the Wikipedia summary? Because I'm not convinced.
No, I watched the movie. Listen, there's a woman naked in it for a good portion of the movie. Okay, I watched the movie. I love how it starts off. It's in outer space, and you get this cool music. I really enjoy. Now, Patrick Stewart isn't in a big portion of this movie until later, which that was interesting.
That's right.
So,
when
did you guys first see this movie, Gordon?
I saw it in high school because, and I saw it at a second run theater called the Brighton Theater, which is no longer in existence. And Joel, back in the day, we didn't have all this streaming and DVD stuff. If you missed a movie the first time out on its initial run, you had to wait until it went to a theater that would show it on a second run. And the Brighton, it was like $1.75 to get in. And you had $1 Tuesdays where you clipped out the little coupon. You could see it on a Tuesday night for $1. There's another story where I conned my parents to letting me see Cat People, American Werewolf in London, and Halloween 2 on the same night. But we're talking about Life Force. So I saw Life Force, and based on Starlog magazine. And when you are a senior in high school and you've not really had much dating success, let's just say, yeah, there are scenes in Life Force that brought a lot of things to light, and I'll just leave that there.
Patrick, when did you first see this movie?
Church camp. I saw this movie at the Oxmoor Mall Theater, which was split. Half of it was downstairs, and then half of it was in another part of the mall on the second level. It was really weird. And, but it was a prestige little weird theater. And I saw it opening weekend. And it was one of those things. This was a period that I began to be aware of a strange phenomenon, and it exists with some other movie. What? Well, not that. No. No, among critics. And it was this. I guess I had the same experience with Dracula Untold, and I had the same experience with the Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, where I go to see a movie, I see it with an audience, and everybody likes it. I'm pretty empathic. I mean, not psychic or anything, but, I'm pretty empathic about audiences. I can read an audience, I think, pretty well. And the audiences liked those three movies. And then I left the theater, and I'll be damned if I could find a good review of it. In fact, the reviews just were savagely negative. And no one was really willing to look at the camp elements, the fun elements of the movie. It's got a very, in the words of Tim Burton, it's got a really unique vibe. And in this way, there are moments where LifeForce is a movie that yes, it is kind of campy, sort of. It certainly knows that it's having fun in sort of a big comic book sense. But at the same time, it's not going to turn itself into self-parody. And I really like that.
I really like the fact that they don't show when they're waiting for them to come back to Earth, the spaceship, the astronauts. They don't show what happened on the astronaut ship.
You get about 38 flashbacks over the course of the movie.
But good ones, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Ones that matter. The way they do the flashbacks in this makes a lot of sense, because when you see how the ship is when they return, you're thinking nobody survived. You're thinking this is sort of like, imagine post-Alien and you don't know Sigourney Weaver lived, for example, but we know she did. Well, here, an astronaut did escape in the escape pod, but he admits that the hardest thing he had to do was leave leave the female vampire. And you come to the conclusion real quick that in many ways, he's sort of like a Renfield to her in a weird way, that he has psychic link to her. He can see what she's doing, and, very vampire trope to a degree, but also this vampire can walk out in sunlight. Like, it just,
in fact, needs a tan. Yeah, I can only imagine what Dwight Fry would have done if confronted with Matilda May.
Yeah. No. What's something that, when you guys watch this movie, that, because again, it's not your typical vampire movie. What did you guys think of how different it was compared to what you had seen prior?
It's it's a movie that until you see the words space vampires, which is a truly wretched title.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a title that's in the background of a movie that takes place in Hollywood about a bad movie that people are making. And the writers in real life are so lame, they can't bother to come up with a good title. So they just have the characters call it space vampires. Until you hear that, I don't really think it's a vampire movie. I mean, yeah, they're kind of taking the life force from people, whatever that is. But that's it. I don't know, Gordon, what do you think?
I'm surprised at how Lovecraftian this movie is, because when you think about it, even though there's all those bat creatures that in the ship, you have these creatures that we don't know where they're from. There's not even the line of, oh, these must be the vampires from history, that they come. They kind of have this really gothic looking interior that looks half organic, half constructed. You've got these people, you've got humanoids amongst inhuman creatures, and they don't even see humanity as like entities. We're just kind of food for them.
Yeah.
And they can play with our minds, they can take us over, they turn us into each other. That it's like, I don't know if H.P. Lovecraft ever wrote like a straightforward vampire story. I don't think he did, but I could be wrong. But if he did, this would be it.
Well, are you familiar with the author of the book?
No.
Yeah, I've read it.
Colin Wilson. And Colin Wilson is a major occult historian. So, yeah, the Lovecraftian influence has an explanation right there. And I think it's beautifully applied.
Yeah. I didn't know he got this from a book. I was gonna ask if he got it from, because I saw that Dan O'Bannon is involved in this.
Yeah.
And I know Dan O'Bannon tends to read a lot of bande dessinée comics. So I was gonna ask you guys if maybe he got it from there, but no, obviously not. I will say that again, I enjoyed the movie for what it is. It's really, because they do mention bats on the other ship. They say about bats, and so I'm thinking, okay, so that's sort of your hint that there's vampirism going on. I love how to like the way they have the umbrella looking thing. It sort of looks like it would be the wings of a bat in a weird way, just not shaped the exact same way. And I like how there's three vampires. There's not just the woman, there's the two men. And they psychically link with you first, which is, what a vampire would do, really, other than just bite you. We've seen, look, we're all Dark Shadows fans. We know how Willie Loomis heard Barnabas's heartbeat. That's sort of psychically, summoning somebody in a sense. They don't go that route in a way, but they do where you don't see the woman's eyes open until they're getting ready to do the autopsy. But instead of doing the autopsy, the one doctor touches her, and her eyes just come open, and she sits up. And they do a really good job of pacing this movie. They make you wait, which I appreciate very much as an audience goer and somebody who tell stories themselves. I appreciate the patience they're trying to make you wait for it, but they reward your patience too very much every time to me in this movie. I think again Patrick Stewart's character is somewhat interesting too. Dr. Simpson. I really like the who was the one guy he was like military or something. He was in a leather jacket. His character was really, he sort of reminded me of a British version of McCready in a weird way.
He's a really interesting actor. His other major movie is called Equus, and that was the first big play to be turned into a movie by an author named Peter Shaffer, who also wrote Amadeus about Mozart, which, if you haven't seen, is a wonderful movie. And Peter Shaffer is the brother of Anthony Shaffer, who wrote The Wicker Man and Sleuth. But
and what a lot of people don't know is that Equus is Peter Shaffer's attempt to write Mr. Ed fan fiction.
Sure. When I did the show, I used an old vaudeville two-man horse costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something to keep in mind about Patrick Stewart at this point, Joel, within 4 years after doing this film, he moves to LA to teach, because that's how the Securitas role as to how he got his got Star Trek The Next Generation was they were looking at all sorts of actors, because Patrick Stewart was not a name at all. He was like that British guy. And so he's teaching it, and the producer of Star Trek The Next Generation, they're looking at Yaphet Kotto, they're looking at a bunch of other actors, and they're not trying to get it right. And one of the casting directors is I think he's like in the arts department at UCLA. He hears Patrick Stewart speaking, and he says, "Hey, I think that's the guy." They bring him in, and they actually had him. Hold on. Sorry, my other cat is going kind of psychotic. Anyway, and so not only that, when he tries out, Gene Roddenberry says, "You know what? I don't want a bald guy. Let's give him a toupee." And they actually you can find photos of Patrick Stewart in the unofficial wig for in a wig for the role, and he actually had his wig flown out because he had left it at, I think, his apartment in London. So at this point, he's not it may be a small role for him, but at this point, this was like he's a working actor. And in England, you don't necessarily worry about getting a starring role. It's like he is just as likely in between LifeForce and Star Trek to be like, you know, Hamlet's dude bro, or Macbeth's drinking buddy, or cat wrangler.
2000.
Yes. Okay, everyone. Okay, this is Pasha, everyone. See, Pasha, see, I'm on the internet. She does not like it when I'm on the internet, when I'm on Zoom or Skype. So
yeah, I don't know.
We love animals here, so we don't mind animal interference at all.
Neutral about the subject, I think.
Yeah. What's you guys' favorite character in this movie?
Oh, it's the SAS fella. It's Firth.
Yeah.
I think it's Firth. Yeah. Is it Firth? Peter Firth. Yeah, Peter Firth. Yeah, the necklace.
Yeah, because he's the one who turned out to be the hero of the movie, not Steve Railsback.
Yeah, well, Steve Railsback's not going to be the hero of much. He's a really weird actor. There's only three. He was Charles Manson for that Charles Schultz thing, and then he was good old Charlie Manson. And then he was in The Stuntman, directed by Richard Hooker, which is a very strange movie. Gordon, have you seen The Stuntman?
Not yet. I've got it on my to watch list.
It's good. It's a real weird movie, though. And then he's in this, and I can't think of anything else.
He's the sheriff in The Devil's Rejects. Uncredited.
He is?
Yep.
Does he have many lines? Gosh, I've seen
I don't know. I just looked him up on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I'm sure as heck not going to watch The Devil's Rejects.
Wait a minute. Have you ever seen it?
Nope.
It's a very good movie. It actually is a very good movie. We have this trope of, the motorists getting pulled out, getting diverted and winding up in this weird house full of rednecks who, try and kill and eat them. Wrong Turn and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and that Mickey Rooney TV movie Bill. And so, you've got that stuff. But what you never get is the next day, except in the case of the Porky saga. So in this case, you do. And that's where Devil's Rejects begins. And what's really wacky about it is that Rob Zombie manages to dignify those characters by giving them actual characters to play. And they interact like a family. And it's not a movie that made me go, oh, look, they're people too, or something like that. It was just a movie that made me think certain aspects of humanity are universal. And I appreciated that. It's strangely touching in certain ways. It's a very well-made movie, very fine film. Underrated.
Mm-hmm. You know who my favorite person is in the movie? Actor?
Who?
Diamond Dallas Page. He's in the movie.
Yeah, I know. I don't know who that is.
Wasn't Diamond Dallas Page the guy who played lead guitar for Pantera, who died early?
I think it's Ron Howard's daughter.
Well, this is...
No, you're thinking Rhonda Dallas Page.
No, Bryce Dallas Howard.
No, Mo Howard.
Called you Howard.
No, Mo Howard.
I love Billy Idol's song. about the Three Stooges. I don't know why he thought that the Confederacy needed him so badly, but with a rebel yell, she cried, "Mo, mo, mo."
Diamond Dallas Page was a pro wrestler in World Championship Wrestling. His move was the Diamond Cutter, which is one of the most over moves in wrestling.
The old Diamond Cutter. I used it many times myself to get out of predicaments. Jewel, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many times while fleeing a situation have you heard a powerful person yell out, "Seize him, you fools! He's getting away"?
Not many. Not many. Not many.
It's a legitimate question.
Not many, is what I'll say. Not many. But I'll say this for this movie, for LifeForce. I think they just did a really great job. First of all, the writing is really good. The direction of this movie is really good. I will disagree. I don't feel it's like campy at all. I feel it's very. Again, you got to keep in time. This is the 80s. We've had.
I was there. I saw it in the 80s.
No, right.
No, but go on, Jewel.
Here, maybe I can figure out how to split the difference.
Good.
It's directed by Tobe Hooper, who brought you Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So you're going to expect the guy to deliver a solid job. You know, he did Poltergeist, he did the Invaders from Mars remake, but this is also a Golan and Globus film.
Oh yes,
it's Golan and Globus, and we've talked to you about this earlier, Joel. These are two guys from Israel who decided they're going to make movies, and they come to America. They actually pioneer we're going to put the poster together and then sell the movie. And they started as exploitation, but then this is kind of the beginning of their shift towards more serious films. So you get, I can imagine that Menachem Golan is saying, we do a vampire movie, but we do them in outer space. And if we do it in outer space, who do we get? We get Tobe Hooper. He did the Chainsaw movie. He did the spooky movie with the girl. So we can get him. And we're gonna throw all sorts of money at it. We're gonna get in one of the minor roles, we'll get the guy from I, Claudius, who wore the gray curly wig. I think his name is Janus. We'll have a naked girl, because I think that's why Mathilda May was so naked throughout most of the first half of that movie, is that you could tell that I'm sure Tobe Hooper might have had, maybe he had qualms, but I can see the producers going, no, the naked movie, the naked woman, naked lady is going to drive us through the movie. And, there's really no reason why at some point she couldn't kill someone and put on clothes, but.
We all make these choices.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. First of all, about the movie, The Poltergeist, I always felt that movie was overrated. This movie is not. It's way better than The Poltergeist was.
It is.
Yeah,
I wasn't complimenting Poltergeist. I just said it's a spooky movie.
Well, no, I know that, but to me, Tobe Hooper really does a great job. And as far as the naked woman driving this movie, yeah, she does. But one thing I kept focusing on with her was her eyes. I mean, this woman was flat out got one of the most beautiful faces I've ever seen, and she's absolutely stunning to look at. When you look at her eyes, you can't take your eyes off of her eyes, because she's really playing a female vampire how you should. Hypnotic stare.
Yeah, are you sure you were looking at these eyes up here, Jewel?
Yeah, I was. Hypnotic stare. When she's coming toward you, and when she's standing there, she's looking at you, looking at the person she's looking at. And it's really, you can sort of feel that energy and chemistry coming from her, and it's really well done.
I would agree. She does have a very literally otherworldly presence. And I think some of that's the lighting, but some of that is that she's just this weird, ethereal French ballerina that they hired.
She's a French actress.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a ballet dancer. And I don't think she knew what she was getting into. She was 18, Jules. So remind the judge of that.
Oh, okay. 18. Okay. Wait, was there a lawsuit against this movie or no?
Well, it's an R-rated movie, and
okay.
and you have to keep in mind the law has always been okay. Technically, there's always been an understanding, even during this time, where if you're an actress above the age of 18, you'd have to give permission to do nude scenes. You normally didn't do nude scenes with kids.
Right.
There is an exception. There's a film from '82 called Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. And it was about a female punk band in the early 80s. It starred a very young Diane Lane and a really young Laura Dern. And there are a couple of new scenes where, like, one of the characters is taking a shower. And the guy directing it, I think, is Larry Clark or Lou Adler. But the way he directs those scenes is very skeevy, where you kind of go, okay, she's 15, he's directing her like that. Like, it's not, it's like, why do we need to be seeing this scene this way? It's not like here you could argue, okay, yeah, she's a space vampire. She's going to be naked.
Yeah.
There it was kind of like, yeah, maybe it's a little exploitative. Just a bit.
Yeah.
In this movie?
No, in Fabulous Stains. Here, it's you get the sense that, yeah, it's.
You know what makes that dimension of this movie work is, I think, the way they are presented early on in the crystal sort of caskets.
Oh, I'm saying it's okay for it here.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Fabulous Stains. It's skeevy.
Oh yeah, it is. No, here, one of the reasons why I think it works is that we see them. They're in a crystal casket, essentially, a thing that should be opaque and isn't. And we immediately know that they are human. There's just, the way they're presented, the way they describe them, and they're surrounded by bat creatures and so on. And with the way they're presented here, it kind of begs the question of, well, why would, vaguely humanoid aliens with this fabulous technology who are so weird and jump from body to body to body, why would they be wearing clothing? They're just like kind of weird animals at this point, just with good hair.
I really like how they did the effects in this movie too, not just the electricity, but how the bodies get reanimated was really creative.
They're having a lot of fun.
It was different. You could tell they were having fun doing it.
Yeah, it becomes a zombie movie a little bit.
Yeah.
With London in Flames and all of that.
Yeah. What's you guys' favorite scene from this movie?
Oh, probably the iconic scene in the film, which is flying into the comet.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's. Yeah, I would say that's the scene as well. And at the end, when the ship is flying away, right at the end, because you don't know, okay, what was the whole point of all that?
It's hard to tell.
It's not a criticism. It's just interesting that we don't know what happened, except we came in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Firth's character, if he had a line at that moment, it just would have been, huh.
Yeah. I have a couple favorite scenes in this. I really love how they handled the flashbacks. They were really well done and well paced. They weren't, because again, they keep you in suspense of what did happen to the crew. Did they all just die? And then when we finally get the guy landing in Texas of all places, and then they recover him, then we get the flashbacks. another one of my favorite scenes is when we get the sequence of him describing where she is in a new body, and she spots a man on the side of the road. I love how they do that. It was
Yeah.
really well shot and done and well acted by just everybody involved. And yeah, my third favorite scene in this, I just love how they shoot the mental hospital. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they, really great job. Again, as soon as I watched this, I was like, man, movies is just a lot of fun.
That's great. That makes me happy.
So, what do you guys give this? 1 out of 10.
LifeForce really 8.5, 9 for me. And
Wait,
Gordon, I think your microphone is off.
you're muted. We can't hear you.
I would say I'd give it like a 7.5 to an 8. It's not perfect, but most of it's excellent.
Yeah, that's a very fair measure. By the way, Jewel, the thing about camp, I want to get back to that for just a second. Camp is a very misunderstood term and thought, and I've got a very good definition of it that will serve us all well. It's by a guy named Christopher Isherwood. And it goes a little like this. Camp is not making fun of something.
Right.
Camp is making fun out of something, something specifically that you love. So is he taking the idea of vampires and Quatermass, because it's basically a third Quatermass movie, and so on, and getting fun out of it? Yeah. So, not that the Quatermass films aren't fun in and of themselves, but he ups the fun quotient a lot.
See, Halloween Resurrection has a bit of camp in it too.
Mm-hmm.
When Freddie Harris is dressed as Michael Myers and he's standing in front of the real Michael Myers thinking it's one of his employees dressed as Michael Myers going, and he's poking him in the head and stuff. Like, I didn't think they were making fun of the character. They were making fun sort of out of the situation and having fun with it.
There's a strong camp element in the Friday the 13th films.
Yeah, there is for sure.
I mean, you can't help but see the camp in the Friday the 13th movies. Maybe more than any other movies.
They're based in camp.
Yeah.
Until they go to Manhattan, Canada. I give this movie a 10. I really enjoyed the hell out of it.
Wonderful.
So to me, I enjoyed the camp and all. I think they did a really great job of putting this together. I think having Tobe Hooper direct this movie really helped, and he does a great job of filming this movie to completion. The outer space scenes none of it looks fake or unreal almost. I could sort of see this being a real situation to a degree. And again, I love how they shoot the sequence of the guy describe, because he sees her in a dream come to her come to him, and then the doctor asks, have you ever been hypnotized before? And they put him under hypnosis, and he's describing her walking in a new body. Again, just beautiful job by everybody involved, and I really enjoyed this movie, guys.
Yeah, and in that dream sequence, I love the fact that they move into, it's basically a performance from Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It is true.
So what do you guys want to do next?
What titles have we talked about that would be a lot of fun?
Well, I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
This year, the music and lyrics from the show Animal Crackers are public domain. The play is debatable because it may have been copyright in 1929, but I figured we could do the Animal Crackers movie, and I actually found it via the Internet Archive.
I would love to do that. That was the first Marx Brothers film I ever saw, and it was hugely influential on me.
Yep, it's in the chat. I figured this way. I have it on Blu-ray because it's the unexpurgated version. 3 scenes were restored.
Wow, I didn't know that. Does it? Do they change the film substantially?
No, they're just jokes that you couldn't get away with. That it was a different. The history of the film is that there was a when they filmed it, there were 3 jokes that were, even with the Hays, it was pre-Hays Code, but there were 3 jokes that were deemed a little inappropriate, so they were cut from the American printing. That copy was found in '72 because it had been lost for decades, and there's one, and you can tell where the edits are made. About 5-6 years ago, they found a more complete print in like France or England that they basically got brought. It was restored and put on the Blu-ray set with the other Marx Brothers Paramount movies. I think the link that I sent you is the cut copy. And the jokes are, you don't really, well, one of them is a woman walks into a scene where Margaret Dumont, Chico, and Harpo are talking, and Harpo starts barking. He runs towards the woman and basically motorboats her and rips her slip out of her blouse between his teeth. And this is a comedy, Joel, and it's from 1930. So, and you will respect the Marx Brothers. And when we're talking about it, you better not dare make a wrestling reference. All right. Just remember, I am 3 states away, and I know people. Okay, I know people.
No people. Oh my god. First of all, what do you guys want to do? I can't do this movie tomorrow night. I got a Dark Shadows video to do. But when do you guys want to try for this Monday night?
Yeah, whatever you like. And
yeah, Monday works for me.
Shadow stuff whenever you want.
Yeah, we really do got to discuss some Dark Shadow stuff. Is 10 p.m. good for Monday?
Yes.
Should be fine.
Okay. So, yeah, 10 p.m. Monday, Patrick and Gordon will be back. We'll be discussing Animal Crackers, which I've never seen. So
you will be amazed. You will be astounded. You will have a near religious experience.
Yeah. Links to the Dark Shadows Daybook about is going to be in the description box. Links to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Gentlemen, you enjoy the rest of your weekend and take care.
You too.
Good night, all.
Bye, guys.